Spa 2019. Leclerc will start that race from the pole position, his third in that season, as he managed to grab one in the first race of the season in Bahrain, where he finished third, and his second pole was in Austria, where he finished second. Alongside the third place finish in Canada, France, and Britain, that concluded his 5 podiums up to that point, which led to him being 5th in the leaderboard behind both Mercedes in Hamilton and Bottas, Max, and his teammate Sebastian Vettel. The race itself, however, didn't have a lot of action. I mean, yeah, it had a crash in the first lap, which resulted in Max Verstappen being out. But for Leclerc, the race was his from start to finish. The only time he lost the lead of the race was in lap 22, when he pitted alongside Hamilton, which had himself a very bad pit with 3.6 seconds. I think they widened the gap with Leclerc to 7.6 seconds. But just 5 laps later, the leader of the race up to that point, Sebastian Vettel, received a team order to let his teammate Charles Leclerc pass through. I think they started a battle for the second place between him and Hamilton, where the latter was able to pass him on lap 32. And from that point on, Hamilton started closing the gap with Leclerc, and he even reached a gap of less than 1 second on the last lap. But well, it wasn't enough, and so Leclerc won his first race. His second win came the very next race in Monza, where he again started in the pole position. But unlike Spa, this one had a little bit of action in it. From the start of the race, the 2 Mercedes gave Charles Leclerc a run for the lead. However, he was able to maintain it. At the same time, Charles' teammate Vettel spun out and got a 10-second penalty. Hamilton would pit in the 20th lap, with Leclerc following 1 lap later. I think that tightened the gap, which led to a small collision between both of them in the 23rd lap. Still, Charles was in control of the race and leading it until the 36th lap, where he'd make a small mistake and Hamilton nearly took advantage of that. But at the end he didn't, and even his teammate Bottas was able to overtake him in the 42nd lap. Bottas will find himself multiple times in DRS zones and attempted to overtake Charles multiple times, but in the end we got this legendary commentary.
Brilliantly, he won in Spa, he wins in Monza. Charles Leclerc is the winner of the 2019 Italian Grand Prix.
This marked the first win for Ferrari in Italy in 9 years. It also led to Charles Leclerc overtaking Sebastian Vettel in the leadership. Although Leclerc will get pole position in the next 2 races as well, that being Singapore and Russia, he'll only find himself finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively. He'll end the season with another pole position in Mexico, where he found himself outside the podium. Bahrain 2022. That's right, 2022. It took Charles Leclerc 2 seasons to come back to win, and actually those 2 seasons were horrendous. He only managed 2 poles in those seasons, with one of them he didn't finish the race and the other he was outside the podium. The Bahrain race was epic, with Max Verstappen pitting in the 15th lap, Charles Leclerc following only 1 lap later and coming out just ahead of Max Verstappen, who overtook Leclerc on the straight. However, he took the lead in the next straight section, and the next lap the same thing happened, and the lead for the race became epic. On lap 31, Max pitted again, and Leclerc followed the same strategy, pitting 1 lap after. But this time he came in front of Max Verstappen with a comfortable lead. And then Pierre Gasly crashed and the safety car was deployed. And then we saw both of Red Bulls retire from the race, giving Ferrari a 1-2 finish with Hamilton coming 3rd. This race also saw Leclerc getting the fastest lap. Australia 2022. Coming off a 19 points in Saudi for 2nd place and fastest lap, he was also leading the leaderboard with 45 points, with Sainz behind him, then Max Verstappen. And the same as the leaderboard lead, Leclerc had a comfortable lead over Max on this race. That was until the safety car, where Max narrowed the gap. However, he was unable to overtake Leclerc. And come lap 31, Leclerc was staying a fastest lap after a fastest lap, widening the gap to 4.5 seconds, until he didn't even need to maintain a gap since Verstappen would retire in lap 39. The race ended with Leclerc being 1st, Perez 2nd, and Russell finishing 3rd. And of course Leclerc got the fastest lap. He also maintained the leadership of the drivers with 77, with Russell behind him with only 37. I remember back on that time everybody thought it was Ferrari's year, and well, we already know what happened. Before going on to the next win, if you enjoyed the video up to this point, please consider liking and subscribing, since it's a new channel and this will help a lot, and I promise the upcoming content will be even better. Austria 2022. Leclerc was coming off the third place finish in Silverstone. He was also third in the leaderboard behind Max Verstappen and Perez. And this race was a sprint week race, and Leclerc managed to finish second in a sprint behind Max Verstappen. The race started, and just 12 laps later, with the help of DRS, Leclerc was able to overtake Max, who pitted after this. However, Max was able to regain his leadership after a pit stop from Leclerc in the 27th lap. But come lap 33, Leclerc was able to catch up and overtake him. The same scenario happened again late on the race. Max pitted in the 37th, Leclerc in the 49th, and came behind Max, and 4 laps later, he caught him and overtook him. On lap 57th, both drivers pitted under visual safety car, and despite Leclerc suffering from car issues, he won that race. Monaco 2024. Leclerc started in pole position in his hometown, and to be honest, besides the 3-car crash in the first lap, there is not much to talk about. It was an unusual, perfect strategy by Ferrari, a 2-stop strategy. This win took Leclerc from third in the leadership behind Max and Lando to overtaking Lando, becoming second. Italian Grand Prix 2024. His first and only circuit where he won twice, but like the first time, he started in the 4th position. And to be honest, nobody thought he would win, but a perfect 1-stop strategy when everybody else went with a 2-stop strategy, and also an excellent tire maintenance by Leclerc, who maintained his hard tires to the end of the race, secured him the win, and also it widened the gap between him and Piastri in third behind Lando and Max in the leadership. 2 races later, Leclerc will find himself again starting from 4th position, but this time in a sprint week race. He was behind Max, his teammate Sainz, and Sainz's former teammate Lando Norris. Despite all that, from the first turn, he found himself leading the race after Max and Lando were fighting for the leadership, which led to Max pushing Lando outside, or with Sainz clinching the 2nd position and widening the gap with Norris at 3rd to 7 seconds. It was an easy race for Ferrari, who took a 1-2 finish. And that's it. Those are Charles Leclerc wins up to this point in Formula 1. Share with me down below how many more wins you think he'll get. And don't forget to like and subscribe. The upcoming content will be 100 times better.